President Trump says he is going to direct U.S. government agencies to release government records related to potential extraterrestrial life and UFOs.
While our government's official position is not to speculate on this subject, we can choose to let our minds explore other possibilities, to use our imaginations. For if we consider that astroscientists agree on one point, that the possibility of life elsewhere is not only quite probable, some feel it is there without a doubt. Let us suppose then that these objects are real space vehicles, extraterrestrial in origin, and not an illusion of the mind.
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.
What's up, guys? Aloha. Last week it was konnichiwa. This week it is aloha. I'm back, sort of stateside, for the first time in over a month. I saw people guessing where I was. Yeah, this is natural sunlight pouring in. I'm back on the island of Oahu. So thank you. Thank you to all of you for the safe travels, well wishes. Japan was an incredible experience, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I'm going to be sharing a very quick story about Japan in just a moment, but I want to say hi to all of our regulars, all of our new people in here as well. I heard there might be some tech issues over on Twitter. They might have resolved it by now, but hey, why not hop over to YouTube, watch us on YouTube. You can be in our live chat and take part with our incredible community here. It's somewhere in the live stream. I probably should intro the show. Welcome to Somewhere in the Live Stream, where we break down all the latest UFO news, UAP related news. And was it a week? Was it a week? Take a wild guess what we're going to be talking about tonight. Did anything happen with UFOs? Yeah, I don't know, Suzanne. Your guess is as good as mine, but we'll try. We'll scrape the bottom of the barrel if we have to, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to break it all down tonight, guys. Trump, Obama, UFOs, the Pentagon, UFOs so big, buildings built around them. There's a second one, apparently. We're going to talk about that as well. A lot to talk about. We may have a special guest joining us. If you saw in the title, in the description there, Andy from That UFO podcast might be hopping in. We'll see. We will see what happens. One of his kids is in a tournament for football over there. So I'm wishing his son the best. I hope they win. As selfish as I would like to be and have Andy here, he's got to be a dad and a husband first and foremost. So that's what's most important. But hey, he might hop in, and I would love to get his thoughts. He's been covering all of this Trump UFO stuff over on That UFO podcast as well. So yeah, if he pops in, awesome. If not, Suzanne and I got you covered, baby. So much. So many videos to show you guys. Congress members reacting, UFO organizations reacting, you guys reacting. I have videos from you, the listeners, who sent in your thoughts on the Trump UFO stuff that's going on as well. So we will cover it all. I want to let you guys know that the super chat and super stickers are open for tonight. If you'd like to help us out, we truly do appreciate that. Every penny goes right back in to the show and helping us continue, grow. There's so many unforeseen costs that go with the live streaming and the podcast production, software, all that stuff. You guys, I don't have to tell you this. Our content is always free to consume, but it's not free to create. So your super chats and super stickers truly do help us out. We have a goal of 5 tonight. If we reach that goal, we will do a special bonus podcast episode for you guys as well. I owe you another video too. I know. I promise I will get to it. But yeah, before we get to the news, I've got a couple new ratings and reviews to share with you guys. This is exciting. Now, if you rate and review the podcast over on Apple Podcasts, we do read your reviews here on the live stream, and we have two brand new ones here. And you guys listened. You put in our code word from last week, 2 weeks ago. I don't even remember. It was "dem aliens" was our code word. So our first review here on Apple comes from Kali7, and they say, "I always enjoy your shows. Interesting, well-informed guests. The topics are fascinating. The production values are top notch, and you're a charming host. So keep them aliens coming." That's very kind of you. Thank you. I try. I try. And our second Apple review here comes from Aloof Queen. And they say, "Best UFO pod. Ryan is intelligent, informed, passionate, compassionate, and cares about the content he's putting out. Also here to say he is looking good in the new photos." This pod is actually how I wind down. I don't know what that means. You put "good" in almost like quotations. I don't know if that's sarcastic or what that means, but either way, thank you. I find that extremely flattering or offensive. I don't know which, but thank you. Thank you guys for these wonderful reviews, 5-star reviews. Truly do appreciate that. Yes, if you go over to Apple Podcasts and rate and review, put our code word, which I will give you in just a moment here. We will feature your reviews on the live stream. We also will feature your Spotify comments. We had a couple of these come in as well, a few. Scott over on Spotify says, "Dem aliens, wish they were as great as you both. Great episodes." Thank you, Scott. Thank you. Suzanne and I truly appreciate that. King Rossi on Spotify says, "Personally, I'd love for this to be more public confirmation of dem aliens, but we all know it's going to be more BS swept under the rug and go nowhere again." Full disclosure, people. No ifs, no buts, and no maybes. Full disclosure. I love it, King. Love the passion. Thank you for the comment. Rindy on Spotify says, "Dem aliens, you guys are the best. Blessings to Nick Pope." Yes, we do want to send our thoughts, prayers out to Nick Pope. We did a, kind of a remembrance last week of our memories of Nick Pope's work and his accomplishments throughout the years with UFOs. And if you guys weren't aware, Nick Pope did announce that he has stage 4 cancer, unfortunately. So that is a challenging road ahead for him. I'm wishing him and his wife all the best moving forward on this journey and the challenges that may lay ahead. So once again, a huge thank you to Nick Pope for everything he's done for the UFO field. Truly, truly uh, couldn't have done it without him. We rest on the shoulders of people like Nick Pope. So thank you, Nick. And last on Spotify, Rian04 says, "Completely forgot Obama clearly said, quote, they're real. Wild. P.S. Dem aliens." There we go, guys. So go over to Spotify in the comments section for this episode. We do put this out on the podcast in the future every Wednesday. So on Wednesday, I don't know what day that is, 25th, maybe something like that. Yeah, Suzanne and I are like, maybe? Sure. On Wednesday, put your comments on Spotify under the episode, and your code word is going to be disclosure. That's right. Word of the day, disclosure. You'll know why in just a few minutes. We're going to talk all about it. So what I want you to do is go over to Apple Podcasts, rate and review, put disclosure somewhere in your review, and we will know that you watched or listened to this episode, and we truly would appreciate that. Or put disclosure in your comments on Spotify. Thank you, guys. We cannot thank you enough for that. So this is pretty cool. I'm going to put an image up here on the screen for you guys. And I want to know if you recognize this at all. Anyone familiar with the Utsuro-Bune Japan UFO case? So this happened back in 1803, if you can believe it. One of the first documented or reported kind of close encounters to take place in Japan. And I'm going to show you some images in just a few minutes, but here's a little refresher course for you guys. This took place in 1803 in Shirahama Beach off the coast of Ibaraki Prefecture, which is basically right next to Tokyo in Japan, for those who aren't familiar, a little south and to the right of Tokyo. So the Utsuro-Bune legend is one of Japan's strangest old tales, and it reads kind of like an ancient period UFO story. So in 1803, during the late Edo period, fishermen along the coast of what's now Ibaraki Prefecture reportedly spotted a bizarre round boat drifting offshore. The craft was described as something unlike anything they'd ever seen: part wood, part metal, with glass windows and strange symbols written inside that no one could identify. It looked less like a traditional Japanese vessel and more like something built somewhere far away or nowhere known at all. Inside the hollow boat sat a young woman with pale skin and unusual features, dressed in clothing the locals did not recognize. She spoke in a language no one could understand, and she clutched a small box that she refused to let anyone open. The curious fisherman tried to question her, but communication went nowhere. The whole situation quickly shifted from fascination to unsettling. With no clear idea who she was, where she came from, or what to do with her, the fisherman reportedly placed her and the mysterious craft back into the ocean and let it drift away. So, this story appears in Edo era texts, and while historians generally see it as folklore, possibly inspired by rare foreign shipwrecks or Japan's isolationist anxieties at the time, modern UFO researchers often point to it as an early close encounter case. And guess what, guys? I got to go there. I got to go to what is believed to be the Utsuro-Bune location. So I'm going to go ahead and pull here. All right. Here we go. I made the travels over, and this is right on the beach heading towards the alleged location. So you see this what they call like a shrine or a torii gate. You will see these all throughout Japan, primarily in places like Kyoto or near Shinto shrines and whatnot. And they have them in the water. I saw some of those in Miyajima out near Hiroshima, but this one was so cool, right off the beach, right off the coast. And I'm gonna change here. This was right towards the edge of where the event was said to happen, right off the rocks where the fishermen were fishing and the vessel came into shore, and this all took place. So you'll see the Torii Gate there. You got a monument. The monument did not have to do with the UFOs, but yeah, this is right between these two little cliffs is where the vessel came in, and this legend was born. Crazy. Windy day there, I can tell you that much. There we go. There's a clear view of the waters. Yes, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful, beautiful area. I wouldn't change it for the world. I do have a quick, brief video that I took. My phone was almost dead by the time I got there, but here, I'll play that for you. That's it. Yeah, it was pretty quick, but yeah, I made it there just before we left Japan, so I was so happy to be a part of possibly standing where one of the earliest UFO reports in Japan could have taken place. Now, was it real? Was it folklore? We don't know. We truly don't know. Many believe it was just a myth. Many believe it could possibly be one of the first close encounters to have taken place in Japan with this um, this mysterious woman. Was she a foreigner of some from some parts, Europe or something like that? Is that why they couldn't understand her or recognize the kind of more modern version of a ship, a vessel? We don't know. We simply don't know. So we'll never know. But to stand there on the beaches was just incredible. I feel so blessed to have had that opportunity. I've stepped foot on the Roswell crash site. I've been to the gates of Area 51, the mountains in Phoenix where the Phoenix lights were seen. I love the UFO topic. I love this field. I love exploring. And if anything, UFOs have taught me to see the world and realize it's so much bigger than we could ever imagine and more powerful and weird and mysterious. And it's things like going to the Utsuro-Bune location that remind me of that, put me back in my feet and continue searching the skies for what's bigger than all of us. So, yeah, awesome experience to say the least. But enough of that. Enough of that. Let's get to our first story of the night. But before we do that, of course, I need to bring in our wonderful moderator and co-host. So behave in the chat, guys. We know you will. We know you will. I see you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you for being here, all you guys. Aw, amazing. Okay, let's bring her in. The one, the only Suzanne Landers. There
Hi.
she is.
There's our traveling man. And let's just welcome all of our listeners to the second show of the week that we've written.
Yes, exactly.
It's in a trash can somewhere. And you guys, poor Ryan, he's about 142 time zones behind me. So he's been asleep while I'm awake. And one night before he was awake, one of my days before he was awake, that Trump and Obama have gotten into this thing. And so I start spinning and I start bombarding him. It's like, Ryan, I think we need to, Trump just said this. And after Obama said this, I think we've got to rethink what we're doing for Sunday. And
Yeah.
then, maybe 30 minutes later, 40 minutes later, okay, I've scrapped that whole show. I'm thinking we're headed this. Hours later when he wakes up to about 5 messages from me in a spin, and I'm now sound asleep. He's probably thinking, so glad she worked all that out in her head.
I'm so, it's like that when someone sends a long post on something and you just respond with, I'm so sorry that happened, or congratulations. I'm so happy for you, or I'm so sorry. I don't have time to read that.
No, it's like, okay, we're going a different direction. The Titanic just turned.
Well, we had to. My God, has this story taken the world by storm. It's gone viral. I thought maybe it'd be a little punchline in the UFO world. What was I thinking? It was all over CNN, Fox, international news, BBC.
Right.
It even made it over to Japan. I saw coverage of this right before we left when the Obama thing happened. And now Trump's getting in on it. We're going to cover all of it. We're going to go through the timeline of events, the reactions to it from everybody. But my God, has it been a week? But before we do that, how are you? How are things going since we last spoke?
I'm great. I'm just going to warn the chat. I have a new keyboard, which means I'm a hot mess over there. So I haven't adjusted yet. So I apologize in advance for the typos and the goof ups, but we'll get through it.
Whatever you do, don't push the red button.
Don't push any red buttons. I will not.
Yeah. Well, okay. Before we get to the big one, obviously, the Obama, aliens are real, Trump releasing Pentagon UFO files, as it were. I want to talk to you about this one. Now, we covered, now remind me, did we do a live stream last week? Or was that 2 weeks ago?
We did.
Yeah. Okay.
I know.
This is where my brain is.
Travel divine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where am I? What day is it?
Get this. I was 14 hours ahead of ET, Eastern Standard. I was not 14 hours ahead of extraterrestrials. 14 hours ahead ET time in Japan. And now I'm 5 hours behind Eastern Standard time. I just can't win. I can't win. But I'm in beautiful places, so I cannot. First world problems, to say the least.
Right. But now we're at least on the same day, right?
We are. It is Sunday, right, everyone?
It is Sunday.
Okay. But anyways, back to the story. We covered last week, Eric Burlinson is going after the massive UFO with a building built around it. Ross Coulthart responded, had some warnings and words of advice for him. We talked about this one you're seeing on your screen here. About right outside Seoul in South Korea, possibly being a location where a massive big UFO is. But we just recently learned there might be another smaller, yet still massive UFO with a building built around it. And this came to us from Stephen Greer. These two were on a news interview together, if you can believe it. Crazy stuff. I do have the video clip. Should we watch that?
I think we watch it. Absolutely.
Let's watch it. Let's get going with these videos, guys. Again, Andy McMillan might be joining us to talk about all this stuff, but if not, he has covered a lot of this stuff over on his show as well. So I highly suggest heading over to his channel after you watch this and check out all the amazing coverage. Yeah, right. But let's go ahead and watch Greer talking about this possible second location. This is news to me. Let's give this a watch.
Okay.
Dr. Greer, you have said publicly that this is outside Seoul, South Korea. Is that accurate?
One of them. Now, remember, I have debriefed almost 800 whistleblowers who've had direct involvement with this. One of them was with the Pentagon for about 8 years as a very senior investigator and had baseline clearance across 18 black project, unacknowledged special access projects. He specifically knew of the one in the mountains outside Seoul, South Korea. It was so huge, they had to build a structure around it. And he was read into this in between 2002 and 2010.
Okay.
So it had been there for some time. Now, I also know there are others that have been brought down in other locations. And if they're over a certain size, they're very, very hard to move. Imagine if they're bigger than a football field. And you're not going to put that on a semi. So it becomes logistically impossible to move it. And then in the United States, we know where there are some others, such as near Fort Sill, Oklahoma. There's a smaller one. They built a SCIF, a facility around that one. We have its location. So I know that the congressman can speak, to what he's limited, but because I'm a private citizen, I can discuss these.
Congressman, are you referring to the location in South Korea?
I can't be specific to that location, but there are wide reports. What I can say is that I've seen articles that have pointed to a specific building, and from what I've been told, that is not the facility.
Okay, kind of caught him off guard there, Burlinson. I love that. So I guess we're going to Oklahoma. Suzanne, did you?
Exactly.
You got my link to Delta, right? Delta flights.
Yeah. Just book it, right?
Okay. What might as well at this point.
Might as well at this point. Why not?
Okay. Oklahoma Air Force Base.
Right.
Interesting.
Where is Fort Sill? Is that the one that's in Oklahoma City?
I don't know. Yeah, I'll let you. You're the
Let's see.
You're the sleuth there.
Comanche County in southwestern Oklahoma. So
southwestern. Okay.
Right.
Interesting. A couple points here. I want to bring this up that Trudy said, because I think it's a good point. Stephen Greer constantly says that he has briefed presidents. He has briefed the White House on these things. And we need to make it clear that Stephen Greer has not been in the Oval Office talking to the president. He has not even been on the premises of the White House briefing people on this. He's attended things, I don't know, dinners, parties, things like this, where like aides, staff members have been, and he's handed them things, or he said, hey, you should tell the president this. So when he says he's briefed these people, this is what we believe he's talking about. So I think he needs to step back the importance of what he claims he has done. But at the same time, I can't discredit these whistleblowers or people that are telling him these things. I can only say, dude, you didn't brief the president. Come on, stop doing that.
Yeah, and that's a constant problem in the law as well. It's not just UFOs. So how people present what they've done, there might be a kernel of truth or even a chunk of truth, but then you have to parse it. And so I wish he would stop using the word brief, which we all very much take as somebody was sitting across from a table in official capacity with materials and classified information and laying it all out. I'm just not sure that's what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. It's like saying you ran into, I don't know, insert famous actor here. You talked to Tom Cruise when in reality you like saw him in an airport and you walked by him or something. Yeah,
and yelled UFOs are real. Yeah, okay, he's free.
But look, now we have more crumbs and we have more leads. So I strongly urge people like John Greenwald to now, start FOIAing these places in Oklahoma, or maybe other whistleblowers will come forward and be like, yeah, that building is kind of weird. Maybe we should inquire
what's in there.
That. Yeah. But I'm sure Ross Coulthart would say the same thing. Like, be careful. And we also have to point out what Jeremy Corbell brought up last week is this is great that they're going to visit these locations, but Jeremy Corbell has been told all we have to do, and he's allegedly spoken to people that work at these facilities. All they have to do is say, okay, we'll show you this room. And it's not the room. It's
And
not
that's not
the
the right room,
place.
right?
Yeah.
Especially with all this lead time, as we mentioned last week. They've got all the time in the world to slow boat this. Not that they've told him they're told Burleson they're slow boating it. So, there may be a package of potato chips in a room by the time Burleson gets there. Who knows?
Exactly. Exactly. But you know what? Again, it's interesting. I send telepathic briefings to the president. Michelle says all the time. I think we all do. At this point.
I will tell you on the general conspiracy theory issue, this whole thing with this Epstein network, I would never in a million years have thought something like that to be so vast and so true. And so I will tell you that I am a little more open-minded to I'm not going to just summarily dismiss anymore. I'm going to make a note and then dig around. And so who knows? Who knows?
You said last week, lower your expectations and then we'll be pleasantly surprised if anything does happen. And that is such a good comparison, unfortunately, that we can make is, and the Epstein thing, at first we were like, this is crazy. There could be no concerted effort that big to conceal something that atrocious.
It's basically a runaway civilization of pedophiles.
Right.
I mean, gosh,
right. It's like a breakaway civilization.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But here we are. It's all true. It's all unfortunately real. So, are all these things that Greer has been saying, Elizondo, Grush, could it all be real? And I think we're piecing the puzzle together.
Yeah, but I also think I've heard you say it this way many, many times. Just live in it instead of trying overly hard to make it all make sense at one time. Just live in it. Let it roll. Let it roll past. Take it in. Absorb it. Add it to the data in your brain or whatever, and lower expectations.
Yep. Flip the puzzle piece over and then put it on the shelf. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. Hard to do, especially with a week like this. Very hard to do.
Yeah. Very hard to do. Well, I mean, there's no better way to transition into it. President of the United States, or the President of the States of America. Let's put it that way. He made a vow. Yeah. Congrats to the U.S. on all their Olympic wins, though. That's pretty awesome. Trump made an announcement this week that we're going to watch a couple clips here and then get into what he said. So I'm going to play this clip to kind of catch us up to speed. We had Obama saying aliens were real just last week. And then Trump had a response to that and kind of upped the ante, as it were, in terms of what he could currently possibly do as the current president. So let's watch this quick video to get us up to speed, and then we'll look at what Trump said on his social media and what he plans to do. So let's pull this up here. Okay, here we go.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Area 51.
Area 51. There's no underground facility, unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the president of the United States.
What was the first question you wanted answered when you became president?
Where are the aliens?
Where are the aliens?
Something that got a lot of attention this week. Barack Obama said that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that.
So aliens are real?
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. He made a big mistake. He took it out of classified information. No, I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do. A lot of people believe it. Do you believe it, Peter?
Well, the president can declassify anything that he wants to, so if you want to make an announcement.
I may get him out of trouble by declassifying.
We know illegal aliens are real.
Yeah, illegal. Only illegals. What else?
But besides that last comment there, I found it interesting. He said I might get him out of trouble and declassify everything. So, did the world take that as a declaration, if anything?
As it should.
Let's.
Yeah.
I know. Let's sit. Here's what he wrote. I think we should paint a clearer picture of
Okay,
what he
starting off
planned
though,
to
are
do.
we sure he wrote this?
I don't know. Who knows? I mean, that's a very good question now that I'm really
When you
thinking
read
about it.
yeah, keep that in mind.
Doesn't sound like him. Sounds a bit too coherent, to be completely honest.
Well,
But,
and technical, UAP and UFO, and some of it
hmm,
sounds like him, but I'm not at all convinced he actually wrote it.
good
Not that
point.
it matters, yeah, but
Let's read it here. So on Donald Trump's Truth Social, he posted this. Based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War, the other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, and unidentified flying objects, UFOs, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
This sounds very unlike him.
It is. The grammar is correct, the punctuation is correct, the acronyms are correct, and it's not stream of consciousness. Someone sat down and thought about this, which I take as a positive, and he has people who can do this for him and
Yeah.
who should do this for him. So I don't think it's necessarily a negative, but I do think it's interesting, I guess is the
Yeah.
best way to say it.
Well, interesting. That's where a lot of this is going to be leading
Yeah.
tonight. I want to say that what happened there? Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. I was wrong. I was wrong. Mark Christopher Lee, who has been saying for weeks now that Donald Trump was going to disclose that he was going to make an announcement about UFOs,
Yeah.
it happened.
It
Now,
did.
was this because of how much attention, that original prophecy Mark said, eventually made it to Obama, who said aliens are real. This got Trump tied into it. Trump makes these remarks. Was this willed into existence by Mark Christopher Lee, in a sense? We don't
Maybe.
know. Or
Yeah.
was he right all along? But I want to say, publicly, good job, Mark. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no
I was
kidding.
wrong. I got
Really
quoted.
skeptical.
I got
Yeah.
quoted in Newsweek saying none of this is going to happen. That
And
was
here
this
we are.
cynical Ryan before, his coffee in the morning, being like, this is never going to happen. But look, we're living in it literally moment by moment right now, in real time. And Trump is allegedly going to attempt to release Pentagon and government files on UFOs and UAP. So,
Right.
yeah,
Well, a
good
couple
on
of
you,
things
Mark.
yeah, a couple of things stuck out to me about all this. One is, he has not yet declassified. So whoever's out there listening, you are not free to share information that is classified right now. This is a concept of a plan, is what this is. A concept of a plan.
Yeah.
It has not happened. It is not yet safe. The second thing that I think everyone ought to focus on, because the minute this got said, my jaw dropped and I went straight into the law. And guess what, everyone? If Obama, in the context of that interview as a former president, he was being interviewed in the context of being a former president. If he did, in fact, mess up and by saying aliens are real, release confidential and classified information, guess what? When you acknowledge that an improperly leaked classified item is real, you too have leaked classified information. So now both the presidents have theoretically crossed a classification line. And I don't think anything's going to come of it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you got to be careful out there when this happens. And I'm not sure care was really taken, maybe even by both. I think
Well, I struggle, Suzanne. And I understand the law is one thing. But I mean, let me ask you this. What was classified about what Obama said? Aliens are real? Like, I know that might turn out to be true, and maybe, the mechanisms behind how aliens are real, what the
Right.
government knows about aliens being real, that might be classified. But anyone and their mother can say aliens are real. And he
Yeah,
did walk it back and say,
did.
Guys, I meant like the possibility, the vastness of
The
the universe.
mathematical possibility.
Yeah,
Right.
like he's like, that's all I know, that's all I personally think and feel. Um, so like I'm struggling with what was classified? What
Okay,
did
here's the
Obama
problem.
do wrong?
Yeah, in the legal arena, your context matters.
Okay.
So if I'm just shooting the breeze with you and I say aliens are real and we talk about it, blah blah, that is the proper context for that, even if I know that aliens are real via a classified document. If we're just, I'm just telling you my opinion, I'm talking about Fermi's paradox, the mathematical, I think it's Fermi, isn't it? The
Fermit's paradox.
mathematical possibility that we cannot possibly be alone. In the context of that interview as a former president, based and following up even with what was the first thing you asked about when you took office? Yeah, where are they? So context matters. Is something going to happen? I don't think so. I don't. I just think it's an interesting set of events. And maybe, if we want to go all conspiracy theory, maybe all this is planned. Maybe this is what
Mm.
soft disclosure or disclosure prep looks like. I don't know.
If it's going to be a former president and a current president bickering and one-upping each other on disclosure, I'm all for it. I
Yeah,
think
whatever.
that's incredible.
Have
Yeah,
at it.
I feel like that's the only way we'll get anything substantial is by these off the cuff remarks or these
Yeah.
like, let me play this card, let me play this card, let me,
Yeah. Yeah.
Aurora Quake in the comments here makes a good point. Obama didn't say it was a possibility. He said they're real. Seemed quite conclusive to me. He did say aliens are real,
Right.
very conclusively. So that's a good point. That is a good point
Yeah.
for sure.
So I do have some concerns for him, but I really don't think anything's going to happen because if they were to try to prosecute Obama, they would have to do the same with Trump
Mm.
based on Trump's acknowledgement that an improperly released classified item was true.
Yep. Exactly. And then
Yeah.
everyone gets involved. The journalists who asked it, the
Right.
the people behind Trump, the Secretary of War, like everyone is now
Everything.
what do they call that? An accomplice to this, I
Yes,
guess.
right. Uh-huh. I'd have loved to have been a fly on the wall with all the Five Eyes that day and all the Black
Oof.
Ops, the Lockheed Martins and like, oh my
They were
God.
working overtime, I can tell you that much. Damage control. Yeah. McNog, thank you so much for the
Oh,
$9.99
nice.
super chat. We truly do appreciate
Yeah.
that. We have a goal of 5 tonight, guys. We reach that goal. I'll do a bonus podcast episode this week. So thank you. Thank you for your support. Very wrestling vibes, Michelle says. Yep. Bringing me back
Yes.
to my WWE days for sure. Let's read some responses. This was interesting. You pulled a bunch
Oh,
of
yeah.
these. I found a couple more as I was surfing the World Wide Web last night. I want to start with this one from Kirsten Gillibrand, who's a big part of the funding for AARO and an
Right.
advocate for what AARO's doing. Ooh, we will get to AARO.
Yeah.
So people have some choice words about that.
They
But
sure.
let's read these. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, she said, I have been pushing for years for increased disclosure and transparency around UAPs. My work to establish and strengthen the All Domain Resolution Office has already brought about significant progress in improving interagency coordination, data collection, and engagement with the public. But there is still more to be done, and the American people's interest in UAPs only continues to grow. I urge the administration to follow through on this directive, and I will keep fighting to elevate this issue in Congress so that we can reduce the stigma around reporting and ensure UAP records are being properly disclosed and made public. Properly disclosed. That's a good
Exactly.
little thing
Well
there.
done here to her. Well done. I thought this was a thoughtful approach. This is the right approach. Don't let them stop where they were talking in their little spitting match. Push their words and move it forward.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree. Couldn't agree. This will be very interesting with AARO and like their involvement with all of this, because allegedly they're the ones holding the key to the files, to the this, that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Because this woman has been fighting tooth and nail to
She
get
has.
anything she can over there. I'll give her credit for that. Representative Anna Paulina Luna, she had some tweets she put out after Trump made this this declaration. She said, looks like we are about to have a ton of hearings on this. She also said, now the Department of War can't hide from our docs request anymore. And lastly, she said, thank you, POTUS, as the chairwoman of the task force that investigates these subjects. We are incredibly grateful for you doing this. I look forward to going through all the footage, photos, and reports with the public. So it sounds like more congressional hearings are already in the works, are currently in the works. So yeah, any comments on what she had to say?
I also like how she kind of boxes POTUS in as well. Thank you. This is a done deal. Now here's what happens next.
Right. You know? They're all kind of doing that. Yeah.
They
like,
are.
Yo,
And I think it's
okay.
important that they all do it. Yeah.
For sure. Because look at how many things presidents say, Trump specifically, but all presidents do it. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. They make promises that they never, ever keep. And that's more common than not, unfortunately. Yeah, this is a big one. Who else we got? Oh, Eric Burlinson, has worked with that task force. He was, an advocate for these congressional hearings. He's the one going after the massive UFO in Korea and abroad. But he had to say about all this, the public has a right to know what their government knows. While I remain skeptical about much of the reporting on UAPs, it's very clear that the government knows something the public does not. Grateful for the president's commitment to UAP disclosure. You're right. They're all painting this as it's a done deal. Get it done.
Here's what happens next. Yeah. And you'll see the big foundations coming in on the technical what happens next.
Yeah, exactly. Who do we got next here? Oh, let me play a quick video because Jared Moskowitz, another representative, had this to say on a podcast about what they're doing. I found this interesting. Then we'll get to some organizations' responses, some people in the UFO community and whatnot. But here's a video of Representative Jared Moskowitz, who's been involved with this stuff as well. I found this one pretty interesting.
Only branch then that would have any insight into any of this would be the executive branch, because clearly as a member of Congress, if sitting on the committee that you do sit on, if anybody would have some information, presumably it would be you and your colleagues who sit on that committee, but you guys have no insight into any of this stuff either.
No, they've kept it from us. And when we've asked questions, they've tried to stop us. When we've tried to put language into bills about disclosure, there are people from government come down and go to the HPSCI committee, right? And go to armed services and try to stop that stuff. So, and that was the thing that we found most interesting on the oversight committee, which is if there's nothing there, why are people from the government trying to stop the language? Why did Harry Reid have such a hard time to get language in? Why did Chuck Schumer have such a hard time to get language in? Why did Marco Rubio have such a hard time? If there's nothing there, if it's all fake, if it doesn't exist, why are people in the government trying to stop it from coming out?
And so last question here. What?
Yes, it's your fault, Brian. It's your fault.
Is it, to what extent is all of this my fault? So last question here. What can be done? What are you doing right now to try and get some more exposure onto this stuff?
Well, I think you'll see maybe this week a bunch of us in Congress do a press conference on a bipartisan basis to try to talk about more disclosure, more information, to take the president's words and say, okay, now let's turn that into action. Let's get some of these documents out of the Pentagon, out of the Defense Department. Let's get some of these documents out and let's get it released to the American people.
All right.
Agreed.
I love that. He said maybe as early as next week, we're going to there a press conference and then maybe another hearing. I don't know. It's a mess. It's a mess. I think a lot of people are playing catch up, are playing damage control right now. But look, the people who have been striving for this, love them or hate them, Moskowitz, Garcia, Ocasio at one point got involved. Then you got Luna, you got Tim Burchett. Matt Gaetz, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah.
But all that being said, like the first bipartisan issue in a very long time that has gathered steam, and everyone kind of agrees we need to know what's going on and where this money's going. If there are legacy UAP programs, if UFOs are real, if they're not, then what are we doing here? Like,
Right.
if, like he said it there, like, if it's not real, then why are
What's
we
up?
classifying
Yeah.
things?
And why is Obama in trouble and Trump's going to help him out and blah, blah.
Yeah.
So that cat is officially out of the bag. And it not only brought a very interesting and I thought positive bipartisan reaction, which is how something this big needs to be handled. It also touched people. I'm sure your inbox, once you got through all my ridiculous messages, I'm sure your inbox was full with what is this from a non-UFO, not from our usual group, but from people who heard the presidents
Oh, yeah.
having the conversation, wondering, whoa, what's happening? So I do think there's value, whether it was planned or unplanned, in helping towards the desensitization of a larger group of people.
Mm. That's right. That's right. Okay. Let's go to some people who have been involved in the possible cover up in the past, investigating these things for the United States government. Because I think their reactions are just as telling.
Absolutely.
Let's go to this one first. Jay Stratton, he was the head of the UAP task force, had a lot to do with that, the early inception of ATIP and a lot of that stuff, OSAP, you name it. This guy was kind of had his fingers in the pot in the shadows with all this stuff. But he had to say this. President Trump's announcement is a landmark occasion for all of us. After years of fighting for disclosure behind the scenes, I couldn't be prouder to be a part of this turning point in human history. Congrats and thank you to Dan Farah for making the truly groundbreaking film, The Age of Disclosure. Less than 3 months after the film's release, 2 U.S. presidents acknowledged non-human intelligent life exists, and President Trump has issued a historic disclosure order. We are all living in the age of disclosure. There will be more watershed moments and issues to face ahead, but I hope all of humanity celebrates this moment. So, a little pat, self pat on the back when it comes to the disclosure documentary that came out. We're going to watch a clip in just a minute here from Dan Farah, the filmmaker of The Age of Disclosure, kind of talking about that as well, that they were kind of the impetus for everything we saw this week. I would beg to differ. But look, I don't know. But before I show that clip, anything to say about Jay Stratton here?
Well, Jay Stratton, if I were allowed to pick one congressional witness to put under oath to answer with clearance to talk, it is Mr. Jay Stratton.
I love that. I'm going with Lukatsky. I'm
Are
sticking
you
with
going with
Lukatsky.
Lukatsky? Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard bits and pieces of Lukatsky through like Eric Davis and the Soul Foundation stuff, but Mr. Stratton is mighty quiet.
True. That's very true. Yeah, until that book comes out. When's that going to happen?
I don't know.
Jay Stratton. God, Andy McMillan and I were, talking off air. Like, when is this freaking book coming out? Like,
Yeah.
that could really.
He's having clearance problems,
That's probably what it is, and this is just going to turn it into overdrive, or it's going to help. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll
Mr.
read
Matt.
this one, and then I'll play the clip with Dan Farah. Christopher Mellon. Yep. He said, to the extent they follow through, this is an enormously positive development, and I commend the administration for taking this step. That said, virtually all relevant documents are classified, and identifying and declassifying them will be a lengthy, complex process. My concern is that an executive branch effort, if snarked in turf fights and classification nuances, could end up being misleadingly partial or incomplete, as we've seen recently with other related disclosure efforts. I'd encourage Congress to support the administration's intent by enacting a legislative framework that concretely structures, authorizes, and directs a comprehensive disclosure process, both to encourage and to help the Trump administration actually get this done. So he's going the legislative route.
Yes, he is. Yeah, but that's part of what he and the Disclosure Foundation do is they try to smooth the path legally to make whistleblowers comfortable and safe, and the distribution of serious documents safe as well. So he posted this in his own personal right, not as a member of the Disclosure Foundation, but I thought it was thoughtful and well done.
I did too. I would have to
I
agree.
also thought he took it was a great way to send sort of almost a subliminal message to the whistleblowers or the people, like, number one, get ready. And number two, you're not clear yet. And number three, pass the UAPDA.
For the love of God.
My God.
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah,
for
get
sure.
it done.
Get it done. You know what? I'm not going to play the Dan Farah clip. It's not really. It's basically him saying, "I'm the reason. My film is the reason that this is all happening."
Yeah.
Which it's not. I'm sorry. Good film, Dan.
I
I know you put a lot into it.
Yeah, I know it's in the bigger picture, especially for the message to get out past those of us down
For
in
sure.
this area. But I do think all of this between the two presidents was absolutely coincidental.
I do too. And Mark Christopher Lee willing it all into existence, like we said.
Manifest that stuff, people. Manifest.
For sure. That being said, do check out The Age of Disclosure, guys. I
Yes,
do think
absolutely.
it is worth your time and
Well
worth a watch. And it probably did push a lot of congressional members or people involved in local politics and whatnot to get interested and maybe get involved. So I will not take that away from them. That
Absolutely.
film made a big imprint. Did it cause all of this? I don't necessarily think so.
I don't think so either. But I do think it's a good film to send to someone who doesn't know a lot about this topic. And this is why we take this so seriously. Look at these American government officials speaking directly to this topic in this very serious way. And now the presidents have done what they have done. So that's where we are.
That's where we are. So the Americans for Safe Aerospace had a reaction to all of this. Ryan Graves and all the awesome guys over there and women working at the Americans for Safe Aerospace organization. They said ASA welcomes President Trump's directive to release government UAP files. File release is not an endpoint, but the beginning of understanding what operates in our airspace. ASA stands ready to help fill the gaps that remain. Read our full statement, and you can go to their website, safeaerospace.org, to read that statement. But this is positive words from ASA over there. Mm-hmm.
And he too is telling his fellow whistleblowers, pause a sec. We're not, subtly, but you're not safe yet.
Right. Exactly. These are a little lengthy, but I'll speed through them here. The Disclosure Foundation, of which you are involved with, Suzanne, we should make that clear.
Right.
Disclosure Foundation said, we welcome the president's directive to identify and release government files related to UAP, UFOs, and what was described as ET life. If pursued in good faith, this effort could mark a meaningful step forward, strengthening constitutional oversight and clarifying longstanding public questions. At the same time, the work is just beginning. Disclosure at this scale is not a single announcement. It is a structured process that requires coordination across agencies, engagement with Congress, and thorough declassification review. The credibility of the outcome will depend on how comprehensive and methodical that process is. As information related to UAP and potential non-human intelligence is identified and released, the implications may extend across our shared responsibilities as a society. Scientific research, historical accountability, global stability, financial markets, public trust in institutions, and public policy. Those implications will require sustained institutional engagement and steady leadership. The Disclosure Foundation stands ready to assist policymakers, agency officials, and whistleblowers in advancing a transparent bipartisan process that builds confidence in the outcome. This is a consequential moment. The next phase begins now.
Yes, very well done.
Very well said. I love that. Keep doing, you, Disclosure Foundation.
They're working it.
I'm realizing how long these are, so I'm not going to read the full Soul Foundation thing, but they did have a lot of the same sort of similar wording and things to kind of say in terms of like the history of the subject and where we're at now. And, put the brakes on. Let's look at this from like a prosaic and kind of level-headed way. A lot has to be done. It's not just Trump off the cuff saying, I'm going to declassify stuff and we're going to get everything out to you. Because look, we've been promised that for the past 8-9 years at this point. AARO was supposed to come out with their historical report almost 8-9 months ago, and they still have not done that. So it's like
amazing, isn't it? And now I bet they're in a tailspin, but we'll see what happens.
We will see
Because
what
there
happens.
is a huge social media presence on them right now. To where are you? What are you doing? Why are you dark? You know, come on. You're outside legal deadlines. Come on.
Come on, guys. I have a video. Lou Elizondo commented on this, and I did find a couple of his points pretty interesting that he brings up. He talked to Cuomo over at NewsNation. So let's watch that clip here. And then we're getting to some good stuff. You know, we're critical sometimes of Ross Coulthart, but he had some really interesting stuff to say. So we'll get to that. But here's Elizondo talking about the Trump announcement on NewsNation. Let's give this a watch.
The president is serious about this, which, by the way, I applaud for any president to take charge of this topic. Now the real hard work begins. This is not, people think, oh, we finally made it. We're there. We're getting truth and transparency. No, you just had a declaration that truth and transparency is going to be pursued. But there's a huge process, monumental process that has to be undertaken. And if you think the Epstein files right now are kind of a hard topic and subject to try to break free into the public sphere, you ain't seen nothing yet. This topic has a potential to eclipse that of the Epstein files, simply because the government has been sitting on this information for so long. There's so much documentation now within our own holdings, within the intelligence community, within the defense communities, within Department of Energy, that this is going to be a tremendous undertaking.
Biden didn't do this. Trump came in and said, I'll do it, and you and I were all excited. Trump then comes in and they don't do it. And now you think because he just said that he's going to do it, that something's going to change? Why should I believe it?
Well, I think, actions speak louder than words. I think if we start to see, for example, a bureaucracy that's beginning to align in this direction, for example, the establishment of an executive order from President Trump that says clearly and definitively, you will, by law, declassify X, Y, Z. And if you start seeing, for example, a national intelligence estimate that is now being sponsored by the Director of National Intelligence, perhaps, and even perhaps some sections in the new National Intelligence Strategy that specifically start talking about the topic of UAP, then I think we can both agree that, yeah, there's some real meaningful work being done behind this. And I do believe there's interest by members of the administration. I will say that there are individuals currently right now in the administration that are very keen in trying to get to the bottom of this. There are, if you have private talks with people in Congress, a lot of these people will tell you themselves that they have witnessed extraordinary things that they cannot explain. Now, let me caveat, that doesn't necessarily mean that each one of those is a UAP. But when you start to put the information together, me as a former investigator, when you start putting these data points together, you begin to realize, you start seeing a pattern, and that's really where the value comes in all this. When you get a clear picture of what you're seeing, and you can then make the determination again that it is not ours and not foreign adversarial. Now, you bring up a great point, Chris, about drones. We saw with the New Jersey drone flap, right? The same issue. And by the way, in Colorado in 2019 and Nebraska, we had a similar event occur over the course of several weeks where law enforcement was involved. And at no time were we able to get or identify or retrieve a single drone, not one drone. Mm-hmm. And if you talk to the law enforcement, they'll tell you a lot of these things were not behaving like drones at all. And so that's what concerns me. If we have something in our skies,
listen, I'm with you.
You know, we don't know what it is, and there's nothing we can do about it.
That's right.
That's a national security issue.
That's right. I mean, look, what's the explanation that the administration came out and gave us about what happened in El Paso? None. None. We just got distracted by Nancy Guthrie and other things, and people get fatigued. They don't want to talk about it anymore because they heard about it already. The president is trying to make a clever pivot right here because there's some things he doesn't want us talking about as much anymore either, and I understand that. Hopefully, we get some real transparency, because I'm with you, Lou. I'm on Team Elizondo on this, and I'm pushing for transparency, and you're always welcome to do it here.
Bingo.
Bingo. Yeah.
A lot of good points by Elizondo here, bringing up the drone thing that happened, the spy balloon thing. Cuomo bringing up the El Paso thing. Two things I want to touch on to play off of this clip, Suzanne, with you. Those things having to do with national security could have a lot to do with this.
Absolutely.
And then the Epstein thing. Is this all, this is my big question for you, and everyone's asking it in the chat and online. Is this all just a distraction? All of it. Was this planned to be a distraction from Trump, his implications with the Epstein thing, all of his friends, his buddies, these world leaders? Is this a distraction from that? Or is it a distraction from the looming threat of something happening with Iran? We're on the brink of something that could be catastrophic when it comes to Iran again. So is this all kind of to distract from that? And is this all just drones, just adversarial tech? Is that what this is all related to? Nothing to do with aliens. What do you think on both of those points? Throwing a lot at you.
Okay, I'm thinking that I wish that enough thought had gone into these statements that it might have actually been pre-planned as a distraction. I think it happened. It just seemed to me spontaneous. Trump saw an opportunity to take a swipe at Obama. Of course, that swipe got messed up because it's the same problem. If Obama has a problem, Trump now has the same one in terms of a classified leak. But you cannot help but think, given the current state of the Epstein investigation, princes stepping down, sheiks stepping down, prosecutions across the planet, France, and there's another country doing independent reviews. New Mexico is about to dig up Zorro Ranch, about 30 miles outside of Santa Fe here. So you can't help with all of that going on to think that might be one of the goals. But I do think it was an opportunity to sort of take a swipe at Obama, who seems to be like under his skin all the time, like it irritates him. But what the real motivation is, I'm not sure where we're going to get to the bottom of that.
Yeah. You keep stressing a very important thing. A lot of this is just consequential and like pure coincidence. And I think, in the UFO field, we are infamous for making connections where there aren't any. But then again, we've been proven right in many ways when we've made connections that did eventually come to be real.
And
So
two
it's
things
hard.
can be true at one time.
Good point. God, you're so much more level-headed than I am.
I don't know about that, but not from all those messages I sent the day after Trump said this, or the night that Trump said this.
Right.
My
Right.
God.
Well, you found these, which I think is hilarious. Let's get a little levity when it comes to all of this.
That was so much
Let me, bye Lou, bye Cuomo. Let's bring this up.
Poor Marco.
Or, I will never in my life for a single moment feel bad for Marco Rubio. That will never happen in any universe. However, these memes of him are cracking me up.
I'm a space Martian, and this is my space detonator.
And the top left one was from Jared Moskowitz, a sitting Congress member. If you guys are just listening to this, we got Marco Rubio on your screen in the most hilarious. He's dressed as Marvin the Martian. He's in a flying saucer. He's getting abducted by an alien. Like, come on. We gotta laugh.
So unhappy.
Yeah, which this is all based on an actual photo of him in the Oval Office. Soulless Marco Rubio, just getting whatever shred of soul he has remaining sucked out of him. But he's the one who's going to have to deal with all this, to be completely honest.
That's right.
So,
it's his job. He looks just thrilled about it.
Yeah, he looks stupendously thrilled, for sure. Wow.
Our non-American listeners in this Marvin the Space Martian is an old American cartoon character with Bugs Bunny. It's so funny.
Yeah. I love it. I've been watching some old Looney Tunes recently. Those things are violent.
They're
Bugs
crazy.
Bunny and Elmer
Yeah.
Fudd ones, man.
Of course, I was raised on. I have so many favorite ones. The giant hair monster, where
Yes.
Bugs Bunny does it. It's such an interesting monster. Should have an interesting head.
Interesting. Wile E. Coyote was always my
Oh,
favorite.
yeah.
Like, I had my whole room was full of the coyote.
With Acme
So,
bricks. Always looking for those Acme bricks.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Marco Rubio, for giving us some
I
levity.
know.
in
Always
all
being
of
a good
this.
sport about it in real life.
I want to stress this as well. Everyone should go read this article over at the Debrief by Tim McMillan, Atomic Modulator. I love it.
Somebody else was raised on it too, not just me.
He was.
Gary.
Thank you, Gary. That's hilarious. Tim McMillan over at the Debrief wrote a really good article, kind of painting a very grounded sort of thing that we've been talking about tonight. Like, this is going to be a huge hurdle. Don't hold your breath. Declassification is very hard, and we got to keep stressing. We have a organization allegedly doing this right now, and that is AARO. Let's go to what do I got next? Yeah, let's go to this one. Ross Coulthart.
Oh, yeah.
His producer, Megan Medic, recently met up with him in person in Los Angeles, and they did an episode of Reality Check for NewsNation. And they had some interesting things to say about all of this. The story was breaking as they were meeting to, I would assume, do more Reality Check episodes. But I want to play a couple clips here because what Ross had to say, I think will put a lot of this into context for sure. So the first clip is Ross talking about why declassification is so important with this declaration by the president because of what has happened in the past when it comes to declassifying these things. So let's watch this first clip. This is the longest one, and then all our videos will be brief after this, guys, I promise. So here's Megan and Ross talking about the declassification issue when it comes to all of this.
I'm not holding my breath that this is any kind of meaningful disclosure because, frankly, we've seen this before. We saw this with the promises that were made with the JFK records, the JFK Assassination Records Act in 1992 under George H.W. Bush, and it took 30 years to get any kind of meaningful disclosure. Essentially, they promise and they don't deliver. So I think that's the first thing that I observe. And also, it's very important to note, Donald Trump is not saying in what he's announced to date that he is going to declassify anything. All they are talking about is reviewing records. He's acknowledged earlier this week that President Obama allegedly breached secrecy relating to UFOs, which implies that there are serious classifications placed on the subject of UFOs, which is quite hilarious, really, when you think about the fact that we've been told by the Pentagon for a while that there is nothing about UFOs because there's no evidence of UFOs engaging with this planet, no evidence of extraterrestrials. So there's an obvious contradiction there. I think the primary concern is the reality. How is it going to happen? What was originally proposed in the UAP disclosure laws through the National Defence Appropriation Act, and this was knocked back, was a 10-member review panel where they were going to have a group of greybeards, people who were familiar with the subject, who were going to make an assessment about what could and couldn't be declassified. That doesn't seem at the moment to be in the proposal that Donald Trump's putting up. At the moment, all we're talking about is a review and release of records. If I was the Pentagon, I wouldn't interpret that as an order by the president for declassification. And that's the key word. If the president stated categorically that he has the intention to declassify all UFO records instantaneously from henceforth, you and I would be able to go and do a Freedom of Information Act request and cite that presidential statement as a policy reason for release. But he very cleverly hasn't done that. And I think the whole nature of the wording of that statement is consistent very much with somebody externally advising the president in a very clever way to be very constrained. Make it sound good, Like make it taste good, but really in the long run, it's not very nutritious. That's my big concern. And there are other specific concerns I have with it. For example, he's talking about government files. Now, we know from our own sources at Reality Check, a lot of the evidence that's coming is from whistleblowers inside private aerospace, inside private companies. And the big corporations, Lockheed, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, Raytheon, these companies that I know have got access to non-human technology. They have knowledge about UFOs. They have technical information about these craft, if they can be described as craft. They're not compelled under any expression of intention by President Trump at the moment to release any information. So that's the big issue I have. It sounds good, it's getting us all excited, but before we all get excited, let's just make sure that the President follows through with an executive order or some kind of legislative authority, which means that we do get real reform. Because we've heard this before, they promised this over 30 years ago with the JFK Assassination Records Act, and it didn't happen for 3 decades.
But I think it's important to note here, there is a mandatory review of all classified information for potential declassification after 25 years. Magenta and Roswell are, 70 years? I'm not great at math on the go, but so they're not even doing that. They're not even going through what is actually by law required to be reviewed in any kind of progressive way or substantive way. I'm sure it's whoever's squawking about it. They might be getting some attention on that particular set of documents, but I'm with Ross on every bit of this.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Like you said, it's tasty, but it ain't nutritious.
Not nutritious. That's exactly right. Yep.
I love that metaphor. You know who else is really good at metaphors?
Who?
Andy McMillan of that UFO podcast.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, guys, no, that was not a lead in to him coming on. He just sent me a message. He unfortunately will not be able to make it tonight. Like I said, his son is killing it over in football over there in the UK, and he's got to be there.
That's the good news of it. We'll
That's the
take
good
that
news.
over here. He can take the good of that.
Exactly. But he did say he sends you guys his best, and he will be coming on somewhere in the live stream in the very near future. I have so much to talk to him about, and he's got some awesome interviews coming up over on that UFO podcast. So be sure to subscribe and go over there. So we're sending you our best, Andy, and go get him. I hope your son wins. I hope this team wins for sure. But yes, back to this. Now, the next point that Megan brings up, and I'm glad she did this, like we mentioned, there is an organization that is supposed to be doing this, rolling out, declassifying documents, getting stuff out to the public, investigating UAP for the DoD, and that is AARO. So we have to. That's like the elephant in the room. We have to see what does that have to do with all of this. So let's hear this clip with Megan and Ross about AARO and their possible involvement or non-involvement with all of this. I found this pretty interesting. Here's that clip here.
Pentagon a couple of times, so I really want to bring up AARO because this just to me seems so counterproductive, so counterintuitive. What was the point of creating AARO? It seems like it's a cover to the cover.
It is. Look, I don't doubt for a moment the integrity of Dr. John Kozlowski, who's the named official in charge of AARO. He's a good guy. I actually like him. I mean, I haven't met him, but he's a good bloke, I'm told, by all people who've met him, including James Fox, the filmmaker, who had a meeting with him in a SCIF in the Pentagon. Great. And Dr. Kozlowski admitted to James that he was, frankly, I think he used the phrase, he couldn't even cut his hair without the permission from the Pentagon. Wow. And let's be honest about it, AARO was all the time a body that was created to constrain the narrative on UAPs. Yeah. It's 2 years overdue for key reports that it's meant to have presented to the Congress and the US taxpayer, mandated by Congress to deliver information that it's failed to deliver. And I think that shows, to a certain extent, an indication of, I think, how the Pentagon's going to respond to this presidential edict. I think they're just going to stick it up and say no. They're just going to drag their feet.
2 years.
Too.
Me too. 2
I'm
years they've
yeah,
dragged their feet.
yeah, yep. Nothing happening. The law
Nothing.
doesn't matter. There are no consequences.
We have learned that very clearly.
We've learned. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Outside of the UFO world, for sure.
Who was it, Ryan, at the First Soul Foundation who's coming? It might have been Eric Davis, but that AARO did not work out as hoped. I'm not, don't hold me to Eric Davis, but it was someone of import, like Eric Davis, that AARO had not worked out as hoped. And here we sit, empty handed.
You know what? And like, I had some hope when the new director came in, Kozlowski, when he went and did that press conference with Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, with Susan Goff in the background staring lasers at him the whole time. I had some hope because this guy sounded like he was legitimately interested in it. He did share some of the testimony that has been brought to AARO, some very, very compelling UAP incidents, close encounter incidents that took place, and that they could not explain them with AARO. But they've kind of been silent since then. Like you even mentioned, I think it was last week, they finally tweeted after like 10 months, and the comments there were hilarious.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. I begged Ryan, let's do a comments are better than the post segment.
They call that
I actually have gotten through it, but
right.
It was kids brutal and hilarious.
The kids call that, Suzanne, they call that a ratio, where the comments are more than the actual likes on a post or the dislikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was brutal. Everybody needs to go find that and just enjoy.
It was brutal. It was brutal. The last clip I want to show here between Megan and Ross is interesting. They dive into, what do presidents know? What have presidents known? What are they allowed to know? What are they not allowed to know? And I found something that Ross said pretty interesting in this one about Obama, not Trump. So let's play that clip, and then I'd love to get your thoughts on this, because this gives me some hope.
All right.
What Ross says in this one. Let me find this one. Okay, here we go.
One more point. It seems just super hypocritical that these whistleblowers, and people inside the legacy program, they cannot speak out and they're bound so tight by all these NDAs and can't say anything. But then all of a sudden the government is allowed to, from the president just saying so, just here are all of our cards on the table, hopefully.
Well, that's the constitutional system that we have. The president is the commander-in-chief. But you know what I find most intriguing? We know that there's a succession of presidents that have not been allowed to know this information.
Yes.
They've either been told, as allegedly President Carter was, that he had no right to know, or they've been lied to, as I suspect President Clinton was. Yes. I know President Obama inquired, but he was allegedly, I'm told, briefed post-presidency, which is why it's very interesting the way he answered the question the other day when he was asked by that young podcaster what he knew about aliens. And he said, yes, there are aliens, and it's something about how there aren't any deep underground military bases hiding aliens. No. They're not in Area 51. I wasn't told about that, at least not during my presidency. That's the key line. It was an interesting qualification. During his presidency. What about the briefing that President Obama received after his presidency? That's the big question.
That's news to me. Obama was briefed post-presidency?
Yes, and I think that most presidents do get post-presidency briefings, because when they get mad at each other, like Trump got mad at Biden and Biden got mad at Trump, they clipped each other's access to those post-presidency briefings.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah. And then again, to go back to Eric Davis said at my first Soul Foundation in 2024, I think, that Eisenhower, Truman, Bush 1, Trump, Obama were read in specifically, and that Clinton was not.
Yeah, Clinton tried. I remember he famously went to Area 51 to look for the aliens. Hillary was very involved as well. They got involved with the Rockefellers, who were like funding UFO research at one point. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is.
But yeah, Clinton wanted to know where the aliens, what happened in Roswell, and he was told, "Oh, Bill, oh, William,
That's so
not
cute.
happening,
Yeah, you're
not
so cute.
happening."
Yeah, in fact, I think they went even farther and they said that they didn't trust him.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm.
Go play your saxophone, Bill. Go play
Look
that
at
sax.
J. Allen Hynek. He is hilariously naughty.
Obama got briefed by Greer. I hope not. Good Lord. Good
We
Lord.
need to put him on our writing team. He can bring it all back together for us
For sure.
in the
J.
moment.
Ellen coming in hot with that. I love it. I love it. I think it was Amanda who brought this up. Stephen Greenstreet and Sean Kirkpatrick made some eye roll statements about the document release. That's our next little bit here. I do want to cover this. I think it's important
Me
to
too.
kind of look at all sides of this. And Stephen Greenstreet, being the ever skeptical person, as you should be with all of these things, he was able to get some quotes from former AARO director. Again, whether you hate him or love him, I can't imagine anyone loves him at this point. But
He's pretty
maybe
unlovable.
maybe the DOD loves him and
His
Susan Goff
mother.
loves him.
Yeah.
But they brought us some interesting things in a interview here, so I do want to read
Dun, dun,
these here.
dun,
Dun 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 dun. I love it. Suzanne with the new theme song.
Everybody gets one, whether they want it or not.
Exactly. So let's read these questions and answers here. I know they're a little hard to read on your screen, but I'll read it out. Greenstreet asked Kirkpatrick, "I'm curious what your thoughts are on the recent hoopla of Obama saying aliens were real and Trump saying he's going to mandate a wide release of UFO and alien files. Since you had access to all these files while director of AARO, what can the public expect to see if when such files are released?" Kirkpatrick responded, "Most files of interest have been released, including the ones I had declassified on Kona Blue. We worked hard among the National Archives and all of the supporting archives to find and release the documents in accordance with congressional direction. The public will likely see just as much new response as when Congress passed further legislation instructing industry to come clean on the alien tech they were supposedly hiding. The public shouldn't expect any further revelations, as there really aren't any. Sometimes the truth isn't what you want to believe." Stephen Greenstreet then asked, "UFO believers are claiming victory at Trump's announcement, using it as evidence of the government's acknowledgement of aliens having visited Earth via extraterrestrial UFOs. Your response?" Kirkpatrick responded, "Only the true, naive, and rationally challenged would claim this as an admission. This is both a distraction and a diversion from the fact that we're about to attack Iran and a response to Obama's public attention on the matter." Greenstreet then asked, "Any other thoughts on this new development?" Kirkpatrick's final response, I expected this would eventually happen for a variety of reasons. I think this is a further waste of taxpayer money and valuable time when we have far more existential matters to worry about. When no new revelations occur, there will be an outcry of conspiracy and cover up. When videos are released without analysis or explanation, there will be a flurry of pseudoscience and uneducated speculation to fill the gaps. We are rapidly slipping back into the dark ages and out of enlightenment, and our leadership is leading the way.
Okay, Darth Vader, then let's just take all of those classified files, 25 years and older, that don't involve nukes or national security, and turn them loose.
Yeah. Yeah.
If there's nothing there, and this is just another, rabbit hole, to turn them loose. Turn them loose. And then, buddy, go play in your own sandbox. This isn't your sandbox anymore.
Not no more. You gone. Go retire. Go retire. It's hard because there are rational things Kirkpatrick says that I do agree with.
Right.
There are far much more important things in the world happening. This could all possibly be an opportunistic distraction that wasn't birthed out of any conspiracy or planned coordination. You look at something like natural disasters that happen. There's a great book written by, I believe, Naomi Klein is her name, called The name of it's escaping me, but it's about disaster capitalism and how we use disasters to capitalize off of things. And she uses Hurricane Katrina as a very big
Yeah.
one that happened, and how there will be people who swoop in to take advantage of things that happen throughout the world, whether it's wars, whether it's devastation, whether it's hunger, whether it's politics, whether it's protests. There is this thing called disaster capitalism, and we need to look at it, and we need to kind of stop that from happening. And maybe this is one of those moments of catastrophic disclosure slash
Yeah.
disaster, and there will be people who take advantage of it. And yeah, Trump was pretty quick to put Obama down for saying that and saying classified info. I'm going to get him out of. I'm going to
Yeah.
swoop in and save his butt. Yeah, from what? From what?
From what? Now that you're in it too, y'all are in the same boat, but go
You're
ahead.
both implicated.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought it was important to at least bring this up. But yeah, it is what it is. It is
Well,
what it is.
and I think, he really does need. I was being silly before about go play in your own sandbox, but he is now not in a position to know a thing, right? Other than what he's already learned from his past position. So where's Kozlowski? Where's Kozlowski?
Yeah. That's
That's
so true.
That is so weird to me that they don't even address this officially, AARO.
They
or
need
Congress.
to.
Somebody needs to. It doesn't need to be Darth Vader,
Yeah. No, but you're so right. Oh, the book was called Shock Doctrine. Thank you in the chat. Really good book. Check it out. Naomi Klein is a brilliant, brilliant writer. I love her work. But you bring up such a good point. Like, if AARO doesn't react to this some way, their silence will say inevitably more than what they end up saying.
Exactly.
Man,
I know, but the
Crazy.
silence screams to me.
yeah, it really does. It really does.
I
Maybe
don't
we
know.
will.
I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe we will. Like, again, you are the mandated government-funded organization that is put
Right.
at the forefront for UAP. If you do not respond to this in some way, that's
Weird.
it's a lack of responsibility,
I
to be
think so.
completely honest.
I
Yeah.
think so too. When the comment by President Trump first got said, I was teasing with another friend of mine on Facebook because he had posted the statement. And under that, I said, yeah, I'd like to order one catastrophic disclosure, hold the preparation. And we're laughing about it. But really, when I think about AARO, that could have been a catastrophic plan for Trump to have said what he said. This is where the skepticism around it probably saved us from some calamity. But truly, where is AARO? This is now the time for you to step in, if you are trying to truly handle this topic. But
yeah, we'll say this, AARO. Here's my friendly suggestion. Everyone thinks you are a narrative-driven psyop, in a way, to control the narrative when it comes to UFOs and UAP. And now your president, who you work for, basically, is going against you and challenging you. Either live up to that challenge, show us the proof that it's not aliens, there's not a cover-up, and we'll take it from there. But right now, y'all look like little wimps, impotent wimps, and I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it
step
at
up
that.
and say something.
Step it up. Like, be a man, be a woman, whoever is in charge of things over there, Goff or Kozlowski, like, grow some balls, grow some boobs, insert thing here, like, make this thing happen.
Exactly. Make it work. Do your job.
Make it work, people. I love it. I love it. Well, I want to shout this guy out because he is going to, he's asking a request of the UFO community and beyond, and that's Daniel Sheehan, the head of the New Paradigm Institute. And they're always doing these petitions to get people to sign to try to get disclosure and the truth embargo. Stephen Bassett's involved with a lot of this. But I do have a video I want to play really quick of Daniel Sheehan, responding to all of this and what we can do as the public, as civilians, to get involved with this. Like, all right, Congress is going to do their thing, AARO is going to do their thing, UFO organizations are going to do their thing, but let's really, if the president is going to say this, let's hold him to it, like Congress is allegedly going to be doing.
Precise.
Yeah, how can we get involved? So let's hear from Daniel Sheehan, and then we're going to start closing things up here.
This is Dan Sheehan. I'm the president of the New Paradigm Institute. I'm calling upon you to respond to President Trump's announcement made on February 19th that he is promising to, sometime in the future, direct the head of the Defense Department and other major agencies of the United States executive branch to gather together all of the documents about the UFO and ET phenomenon and to start the process of making them public. That is not sufficient. What we're calling upon you to do is to contact the president immediately, respond to the call to action that is being undertaken by the New Paradigm Institute. Go to newparadigminstitute.org and follow the instructions. Demand that he issue a detailed executive order commanding all of the relevant agencies to immediately gather together all of this information, which they've already been commanded by Congress to do 2 years ago, and make it available immediately to the National Archives, and support the action by the United States Congress to appoint a review body to review this information and make the specific recommendations as to what is to be made public immediately. This is Dan Sheehan asking you to do this right now. Contact newparadigminstitute.org. Thank you.
There you go. Very well done. I did put a direct link to the petition in the show notes, guys. So you can go ahead and just go into the show notes for that. I didn't have time to get the link up here. But yeah, go sign it. Like, what's the harm? Honestly, what is the harm? And he brings up a good point, the review panel. That was one of the big things in the UAPDA. And I think that is a brilliant idea. And I'm all for that. Eminent domain, not so much.
Yeah.
But the whole review panel thing, totally. And let's hold Trump to the fire on all of this.
Yeah,
If he's
call
gonna
your
say it.
representatives, call your congressman, do
Yeah.
what you can do, send emails to them. You can do more than one thing.
You can do more than one thing, as you've told me tonight, and more than one thing can be true.
True.
Shades of gray, people. Shades of
That's
gray.
right.
Awesome. We are going to end the show tonight, Suzanne, with our listeners' thoughts and opinions on everything we talked about tonight with Trump. I'm going to play a fun little video montage of several individuals who voiced their opinions and sent me some video messages. But before we do that, I want to let people know of our episode dropping on the podcast. Now, we just had Bad Bunny perform at the Super Bowl recently, highest viewed Super Bowl performance in history. And it was all about his home, which is Puerto Rico, which has always had a interesting and amicable relationship with Puerto Rico. I wanted to dig deep into Puerto Rico, the culture, the history, the mysteries that happen there. And I put together this episode, which I think you guys are really going to love. We hear from people who live in Puerto Rico. We hear from people who have visited. We hear from the #1 UFO investigator in Puerto Rico, who has dug up some incredible cases that he shares with the audience as well. The paranormal stuff, the chupacabras, you name it. It has all happened on this island of Puerto Rico. So yeah, kind of playing off the heels of this Bad Bunny performance, I wanted to show what a beautiful, beautiful place and culture Puerto Rico really is, and the mysteries that lay somewhere in the skies and on the island there. So you can find that in the on the main feed very, very soon. And the other thing, Suzanne, I don't know if I shared this with you yet. We
What?
showed some clips from NewsNation tonight with Ross Coulthart and Megan, his producer. I believe that was the first time they've ever been in person together doing their show.
Right.
And I've been talking back and forth, and Megan, the producer, will be on Somewhere in the Skies in the very near future. We're nailing down a date very soon, but we've been going back and forth about all this Trump stuff, and she's really excited to talk about that and so much more about her dive into the UFO world and UFO community and what that's been like, getting thrown into the deep end.
I bet.
For sure.
I
So,
bet.
so yeah, if you guys have any questions for Megan, you can email them to me. Email is in the show notes, or hit me up on DMs on social media and all of that. I can't wait to talk to her. She's so nice, and
Yes.
she's super excited to come on the show. So yeah, look for that in the very near future as well. Look for our Puerto Rico episode dropping in just a few hours at this point. But before we go, last things, your code word is, what is it again? Disclosure. Disclosure is the code word. Go over to Apple Podcasts, rate and review Somewhere in the Skies, and somewhere in your review, put the code word disclosure. In the future, when this is up on Spotify as a podcast episode, put in the comments somewhere the word disclosure, and I will know you either listened or watched this episode, and we will shout you out on the next live stream, guys. It's so much fun to get you guys involved, and we're going to get some more people involved. We're going to end things tonight with your listener videos about the stories we talked about tonight. Be sure, if you're on YouTube, to like and subscribe if you're not already, and leave comments below the video. That really does help boost us up in the algorithms. UFOs is like shadow banned on YouTube, guys. So you will notice we don't put UFO in our titles a lot or in the hashtags, because you will get banned. Not banned, but you will not be visible, because they don't find UFOs an actual thing and a conspiracy theory. And during the COVID days, they blocked a lot of things that were conspiracy theory, and UFO was at the very top. So you will notice a lot of UFO oriented channels on YouTube. The views went down drastically after COVID and stuff. So yeah, that's why we need your help. Get the word out about our show, because YouTube isn't going to do it for us. The algorithm is not. The AI digital overlords will not help us or assist us in that endeavor. So subscribe, share the YouTube channel with your friends and family.
And your community
That's all
forums
we can
on
do.
Facebook and social media. You can have an incredible reaction, a positive reaction in those forums in your local areas.
Yep. Yeah, thank you, Suzanne. I always forget that. We have a very active Facebook group as well that we've got some wonderful administrators over there, primarily us, but a few others as well. And we have great conversations over on Facebook. Just search for Somewhere in the Skies podcast. Ask for an invite. We'll let you in to our super secret fun club over there as well. I think that's going to do it. The super chat and super stickers are still open for a few more minutes, guys, as we play these videos to play things out. So if you want to help out the show, super chat, super stickers are open. We would truly appreciate that. But awesome. I don't know about next week if we will have a live stream or not. I'll let you guys know. I should still be in New York City, weather permitting. They're getting a huge blizzard the day I fly there, so we'll see if that happens. But yeah, I will let you guys know on social media if we'll be hanging out next week here. But I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. A fun show, a weird show. Man, when you have to pivot, Suzanne.
We did it. We did it. Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, that's gonna do it for tonight, guys. So you won't see our faces again. I'm gonna play the video and then end the stream here. So thank you for all of your love, your support, your words of wisdom tonight in the chat. We truly do appreciate that. So I will leave it at that. Suzanne, you got anything else before we get out of here?
Good night to everybody, and I'll see you on Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. So let me find the video here. Here's you guys, the listeners and viewers and UFO people, talking about everything we talked about tonight as well. So thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts. And we will see you hopefully very soon on Somewhere in the live stream. Remember, keep your feet on the ground, but never stop searching somewhere in the skies. Take care.
In a recent article that Tim McMillan did on the Debrief today, it talks about there's a difference between declassifying and releasing documents. So President Trump is a sitting president currently, and right now he has the authority to be able to declassify these documents, but it's probably going to have a lot of audits. It's going to have a lot of redactions, and we're probably not going to get the truth. He's had many chances to do this in the past, and we really haven't seen much from President Trump. So I'm not holding my breath yet.
Hi all, traveling at the moment, so I can't cover the Trump stuff, but thought I'd send a message to Ryan for his show. Wow, what a week. That really took off, right? Thanks Obama, thanks Brian who did the interview and left the ambiguity open enough that it generated conversation and got a reaction from Trump. Will Trump disclose? That's the question. He didn't say that he was going to declassify anything. He didn't direct anyone to declassify anything. So what we're probably looking at is kind of business as usual from AARO. But this is an opportunity, because whether he's using it as a distraction or not, people are still talking about the Epstein files. So it's not really working, but it could work. So now is the moment for everyone in Congress that supports this issue, for everyone that wants this to happen. Get in touch with your reps, tell them to pass legislation, pass something like the UAPDA, tell them to get around a table and figure it out, and to make sure that they say declassify, not just give us your files, because that will just give us AARO kind of quality stuff where it's blurry and ambiguous and we all still argue whether it's prosaic or not. And then 2, that also applies to materials, physical things, objects that we can study, that scientists can study. And also he needs to apply it to contractors, because that's where we've been hearing that this stuff is. It's no longer just in the purview of the DOD/DOW, I guess, DHS, Air Force, all those kind of people, or organizations, I should say, and native people. But yeah, this is hopeful. This is a moment. We can take advantage of this, and we can still hold Trump to account for everything that he's done. I mean, a crime a day at this point, right? So yeah, use your voices, speak to the power, tell them you want this, and remember, the power of the people is stronger than the people in power. Go.
Hi, it's Frederik Uldal from Copenhagen, Denmark. On the 21st of February 2026, the US President Donald Trump, he just ordered his Department of War to open their UFO files. Is this the start of disclosure with a big D, or is this just a masterclass in public relations? Unlike Schumer and Round's proposed UAP Disclosure Act from 2023 to 2025, Donald Trump's move lacks an independent review board. Instead of outside experts, he's letting the Pentagon grade its own homework. Moreover, the Schumer-Rounds bill had eminent domain. That's the power to seize non-human technology from private contractors like Lockheed Martin. So would Trump's order only hit government files? If the UFO legacy program is hidden at defense contractors, this move wouldn't really touch it. So Schumer and Rounds, they wanted a law, but is Trump just giving a directive? Orders can be stalled by bureaucrats. So I think it's a loud start, but without the teeth of the Disclosure Act, the real secrets might stay behind private non-disclosure agreements. Have a great weekend.
Konnichiwa from Osaka, Japan. My name is Darren. Here's my hot take. If Trump announces disclosure, my reaction's not going to be shock. It's going to be a raised eyebrow. Not because I don't believe in NHI. I do. It's because the topic already carries 70 plus years of history, credible sightings, sensor data, military encounters, whistleblowers, and even sworn testimony in front of Congress. We're not waiting for a politician to start this conversation. We're waiting for institutions to finish it. We have to be realistic about how power works. The most sensitive programs are compartmentalized by design. Access is already tightly restricted. So the assumption that any single sitting president would automatically know or be allowed to know or to be able to reveal it is a little bit questionable. So now layer in the current political climate, all the noise, the spectacle of the Epstein files, the timing of disclosure becomes a little bit more than coincidence. It becomes risk. Because credibility matters, let's not forget that he's spent years of eroding trust in our institutions, decades of racist accusations against him, sexual allegations, policies that weaken our social, safety nets, not to include, just stoking fires around the world. That's the big key here. On the world stage, that track record doesn't exactly strengthen confidence in extraordinary claims. It complicates them. And that's the real concern. This is bigger than any administration. If something this important gets tied to this cult of personality, one political moment, then it's easy to fumble and mishandle. And that could set this serious discussion back for years, if not more. So, if disclosure drops between campaign slogans, I'm a little bit less worried about aliens, and I'm more worried about the credibility, and keyword here is damage control. Because the last thing the subject needs is to be made easier to dismiss. And also, I don't want it to end with a soundbite with the X-Files theme either. I don't want to go backwards. All right, peace.
Hey, Ryan, big fan. So my thoughts on Donald Trump announcing what he did, it'd be great. If the government has something and they just shared it with us one day, cool. Realistically, I'm not convinced that the government has a whole lot to share. It doesn't seem like the government's that great at keeping secrets for a long period of time, but maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about. If the government did, I guess, have some sort of program with knowledge of what UAPs are, or if there's extraterrestrial life, like if they have all of this knowledge, it would have been something that has been around for a while. And I feel like if I was running that program, Donald Trump would be the last person I would give any information to.
There's nothing to hide. There's nothing to hide at all.